Welcome to Shanghai. Few cities in the world evoke so much imagination as the largest city in China. Rich and glamorous on one corner, rough around the edges on another. Shanghai is truly one of the most fascinating places in the country. I was lucky enough to travel to this amazing metropolis multiple times over the past years. And in this video, I will share with you my personal top 10 places to visit. The Bund is probably where every trip to Shanghai should start. This waterfront promenade is located right in the center of the city and provides a stunning contrast between historic colonial architecture and the awe-inspiring modern skyline of Pudong on the other side of the Huangpu River. Many of the old buildings were used by Western powers as consulates and financial institutions around the early 1900s. Join local Shanghainese for an early morning stroll, or watch them practice Tai Chi, an ancient Chinese martial arts. As the day progresses, it usually gets busier, culminating in the evenings when massive crowds converge on the Bund. They come here with a purpose: to witness the iconic skyline of Pudong, bathing in spectacular neon lights. And this takes us to number 2 on the list, Pudong District. It's hard to imagine that this spectacle of glitzy skyscrapers was mostly farmland only 3 decades ago. But in 1993, the Chinese government designated these barren lands to become a special economic zone, paving the way for massive development projects. The ZHUJIAJIAO district in Pudong quickly became a major financial hub and symbol of China's immense economic growth. While impressive at night, Pudong's business district is most active during the day, when countless commuters use the crowded public transport to get to work. Most offices are off limits to random visitors, but you can get a good sense of the place by just wandering around. And if you're lucky, you may just get invited for lunch in one of the company's cafeterias. If you're curious about the view from the skyscrapers that surround you, then take your pick. All of the major buildings, including the Oriental Pearl Tower and the Shanghai Tower, the second tallest in the world, have observation decks. From here you can get amazing 360-degree views of the city. There are plenty of other things to do in ZHUJIAJIAO, as the area boasts some of the fanciest malls and restaurants. One of my favorite places, however, is located underground, the Shanghai Ocean Aquarium, where you can walk through glass tunnels, admiring some of the most mesmerizing sea creatures found in Asia. And that brings us to number 3 on the list. Located not far from the Bund, Nanjing is Shanghai's main pedestrian shopping street. Even if you're not looking to buy anything, walking the 5-kilometer long street gives a great insight in China's expanding consumer market. Be aware though, the crowds can sometimes be overwhelming. Make sure to visit during the day and the night if you can, when neon lights create an otherworldly atmosphere. If you need some peace and quiet after walking Nanjing Street, then the Jing'An Temple at the western end provides the perfect remedy. The Buddhist temple almost feels like a retreat from the activity outside. The original temple was destroyed during the Cultural Revolution, and this replica was built in 1983. Come strolling through People's Park in downtown Shanghai, and you witness people playing cards, exercising, and doing other activities. In weekend afternoons, though, parts of the park are the scene of a rather unique event. Parents and relatives of unmarried adult children gather at an unofficial marriage market, hoping to find suitable partners for them. Marriage plays a crucial role in Chinese society, and worries among families can grow by the year if their offspring remains unmarried in their 20s. While it may seem a bit weird to see families advertising their sons and daughters, it's actually a reminder of traditional culture, when parents used to play a big role in their children's spouse selection. You have to look closely these days to find pockets of old Shanghai, traditional residential neighborhoods that shaped the city during the years. I remember walking through some of the narrow alleyways getting lost, not only in place, but also in time. These areas used to house working-class families and grew into close communities spanning generations. This authentic Shanghai, however, is on the brink of collapse, as development pushes these neighborhoods into extinction. Many young people decide to leave the often poorly maintained buildings, while most elderly often have no other choice but to accept relocation. It seems like a double-edged sword that many places in China face, preserving historic neighborhoods while developing cities at almost breakneck speed. Most of these neighborhoods have now been replaced by apartment towers, skyscrapers and shopping malls. One area around the historic Yueyuan Garden is rebuilt as an entertainment center with classic-looking stores and restaurants. Despite its commercial character, it's a pleasant place to stroll around, even if it's difficult to imagine the real old Shanghai here. With enough time, you can organize a day trip out of the city, and for me, two places really stand out. The first can be reached by high-speed rail from Shanghai's Hongqiao train station, one of China's largest and busiest transport hubs. It may seem a bit intimidating to navigate this station, but once you find your way, it proves to be quite efficient. SUZHOU is a city less than half an hour from Hongqiao and has a distinctly different character. Although it's more laid back than Shanghai, it also has a modern business district with some extravagant architecture built on the shores of a beautiful lake. it's worthwhile to venture further into some of the old parts of Suzhou, exploring remaining classic neighborhoods. The region between Suzhou and Shanghai boasts more of these characteristic water towns, and my favorite one is called ZHUJIAJIAO. With its classic houses and stone bridges, it's easy to see why these places become popular tourist attractions. Yet traditional ways of life continue to exist outside the main streets, and it's fascinating to walk the quiet back alleys. And if you're hungry, traditional snacks such as zongzi, rice dishes wrapped in bamboo, are made fresh on the spot. For the next place on the list, we stay out of the city proper, traveling all the way to the coast to visit the impressive YANGSHAN deep-water port. Located on Yangshan Island, you can only reach the port of Shanghai with your own transport or with an organized tour. But for those with an interest in international trade and infrastructure development, this is definitely worth the effort. Construction of the Yangshan deep-water harbor started in the early 2000s, as previous port facilities became outdated with the advance of ever larger container ships. The waters of the older harbors simply became too shallow. Historically an important trading port, Shanghai saw its relevance diminish as rivaling nearby harbors continued to expand. The ambitious project was an attempt to revive Shanghai's role in the international shipping industry, and it proved a successful one. In recent years, it has become the largest container terminal in the world. There's a small visitor center and pleasant hiking trail that takes you to some amazing viewpoints. From here you can watch the seemingly endless flow of cargo vessels come to shore, delivering and picking up colorful containers filled with an endless variety of products. Some of these products are likely to have made an appearance at the many trade shows that Shanghai usually hosts. And this brings us to number 8 on my list of favorite things to do in the city. Held in different locations around Shanghai, trade shows or exhibitions are used by companies to promote some of their latest products and services, hoping to attract customers from around China and the world. These can range from technology, robotics, video games and artificial intelligence to automotive, food products, agriculture and healthcare. While not for everyone's taste, they provide an interesting glimpse into the world of doing business and trade in China. Not all exhibitions are open to the general public, so plan ahead and do some research before you go. And of course, most of these types of events are currently cancelled because of the pandemic. Tucked away on a crumbling industrial area in the far north of Shanghai, I found something best described as a graveyard for bicycles. Don't worry, this sounds more sinister than it actually is. Bike sharing in China has become very popular recently, as dozens of companies flood city streets with brightly colored rental bikes. A potentially great and environmentally friendly idea to relieve many cities from some of their transportation issues. The rapid growth of these companies, however, overwhelmed local infrastructure, as bicycles were parked illegally or abandoned completely by their temporary users. Many local governments decided to remove these stray bikes to vacant areas in the suburbs that were quickly nicknamed as bicycle graveyards. The 10th and final place on the list, visiting the former expo site in the south of Shanghai, took me back to one of my first trips to the city. In 2010, Shanghai hosted the World Expo, one of the largest international events on our planet. Every 5 years, a host city invites countries from around the world to showcase the best of what they have to offer, ranging from cultural traditions to sharing technological innovations. To imagine the scale of the event, just consider that the Shanghai government spent more money preparing for the expo than Beijing did for the Olympic Games 2 years earlier. And it turned out to be a big success. More than 73 million people visited the expo during May and October 2010, and more than 240 countries and organizations participated. The majority of visitors were Chinese from around the country, eager to catch a glimpse of cultures and countries far away. While waiting lines were intimidating sometimes, they were also part of the fun, and they proved a good example for the boom in domestic tourism that China experienced in the years after. Activities were held into the evenings, when many of the buildings were lit up with beautiful neon lights. Today, many pavilions remain intact. Come here to admire some of the eye-catching architecture, or if you need a break from the hustle and bustle of downtown Shanghai. And that concludes my personal top 10 favorite places to visit in Shanghai, a city so massive that it can really be explored for months or even years. Thanks for watching this video, and feel free to leave comments below. I hope to see you again next time. Travel safely.